Welcome. And thank God you're not my child. Remember, it's a comedy podcast where I talk about whatever I want to. And this week, I have quite a few emails talking about how to get through a state inspection. And when I first started, I started trying to get licensed in Forsyth, Missouri in 1999. It's about when we moved there, so right around there. And I met my first state inspection. Yeah, it was a guy. His name was Floyd, and he was so nice. He took my hand and he walked me through getting licensed step by step. And back then I had to get zoning approval. So that took 3 months in court. I was so amazed. I had to send out over 100 letters to let my neighbors know that I was going to start a home daycare. And it just didn't matter. That was the law. And so it took me a good 3 months even to get him to show up because he couldn't show up unless I had zoning. So once I had that, it took another 3 months to get licensed. It was easy. It was just, I was doing it with the money I had. So it took me time. So it took me about 6 months total with zoning to get licensed. And Floyd was so good. I learned so much about getting licensed, which I already kind of knew because I worked in daycare and I knew the rules. So I was in a new state. But he just made things so easy. Every time he showed up, I didn't worry about him showing up because if something was wrong, like my paperwork, because guess what? I suck at paperwork. Oh, the day one of my best friends became a daycare provider like me, she is so organized. The day she became, my paperwork came better because she kept me accountable. So I never really had a problem. There was times I couldn't find some training things and I got written up for it. It was always paperwork. It was. And that TB test I had to have, I didn't understand. Was it every other year? I mean, it was just your simple stuff. But I had no issues taking care of the kids. No issues with the toys, with the center, with my home. I was getting licensed for 6 kids when I started, not 10. That was the most I wanted. That was fun. And for quite a few years, this is where I stayed. It was great. I had 6 spots. I never had to worry about it. Word of mouth. It was great. I was growing. It was getting bigger. And then I felt bad because I had these friends of mine that were licensed for 10. And I thought, I can do 10. I can do 10. So I'm just going to change my license. And I'm just going to tell you, that's where the shit began. I got a new health inspector. Okay, we're going to talk about a health inspector at the moment. His name was Jerry. And I'm telling you, I was already licensed for 6 kids. So I really didn't think there would be that much a difference. Makes you realize, why is there that much a difference between 6 to 10? There really may be more toys, more things, more space. I get that. But this man came in and he found a list of 46 fucking things that I needed to repair. From the salt on my stove. Yes, I didn't get the salt cleaned up. It wasn't salt spilt. It was salt. S-A-L-T. Yes, S-A-L-T. Yes, I said that right. Spelled that right. And the worst, and it was just like, I had all of my boxes and stuff sealed and contained with like clippers. He wanted containers, not clippies. I found out that the state guy, Floyd, told me, well, this is stuff that he prefers and you need to do it. Well, if it's not a law, why do I have to do that? My box is good. It's in date. It's closed up. It's got a little clip on it to keep it fresh. But he wrote me up and said I had to change every one of them to plastic containers that held the bags. It wasn't a law. It was what he wanted. And he put that on a paper and he would not back down. I had to do what this man wanted for me to do, not just the laws. And that's where it went wrong because my state guy said, I can't clear you until he does. And he won't clear you until you get this stuff done. So it was 46 things. The last one, now we had a well and I had my water checked at that time every 6 months. Never had an issue. And he wanted us to dig it up some and put a new topper on it and stuff because it wasn't safe. That was over $2,000 I had to do. I was already licensed. And so for 4 more kids, you want me to do what? Move my fucking house? It was the worst time I ever had in daycare, was this health inspector that wasn't even going on the law. He was going on what he wanted. When I asked him to find me it in the law, he said it didn't matter if it was in the law. If he writes it up, I have to do it. And there was not a fucking soul I could find to help me. So it took me a good year to get all of this stuff done. It was thousands. I finally changed it to 10. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going to get licensed, just go ahead and think about what you want to be licensed for, because redoing it was the worst thing I ever did. Once it was done, it was great because people needed daycare. So I slowly went up to 10, but making it through that, I mean, I cried almost every night. You know, I was actually having to save and work extra jobs and date nights just to try to save up the money. And I understand keeping kids safe. I just don't understand what was the difference between 6 and 10. And nobody ever told me. They told me to just get over it and do it. So I did. So then I'm licensed for 10, and we don't really have any issues. But then my Floyd guy, he retires. Oh, he retires. And then I get this new girl, seems really, really, really nice. And after the first inspection, I thought something just feels weird. She was telling me that I had too many toys out for the kids. Mm-hmm. When she came in, they were playing because it was scheduled. She wanted to meet me. So it was morning time. I had it scheduled. So there's center times. And if you've had kids play center times, you know they're going to have some playing dishes, some building, some, you know what I mean? Some reading. She wrote me up that time because they had too many toys out. I am not bullshitting you, while they were playing. And that was the moment I realized she had no fucking kids. Never taught a class, never been daycare, never been a teacher. And she's telling me these kids are playing with too many toys out. And that's pretty much how the next 5 years went. The things that she wrote me up for, well, by this time, Dawn's doing daycare already, and she's registered. And my paperwork's pretty much on point all the time because she has a list. She sends it to me, and I know if I don't get this done, she's going to jack slap me one. So I'm pretty much on point. So she doesn't find too much because each child has their own stuff. Daycare registration, doctor's note, medicine, anything you've written up on them. So each kid had their own file, but each kid had to have a certain thing in their own file. And Dawn kept me good at that. So she didn't ever find a whole lot on that. So that was good. But I got written up many times on the toys. She came in one time to inspect me, and I gave her the paperwork. She sat at the table, and we're eating. I go back over and I sit down with the kids because normally on a good day, I would do family style. So I sat down with them, the food's in the middle. And she did not like that the kids were serving themselves. She wrote me up for it. Something my food lady and everybody else that trains me says it's good. If you put it on your plate, you eat it. Now, I'm there to make sure they get what they need. Of course, I never had any issues with my food program because I would offer more. That's one thing I was extremely good at. But I would get written up if she knew the kids were serving themselves because she said that she thought, what if the food was hot? What if they got germs in it? What if what if you didn't make it on my house? Oh, once I got it in this all happened in 5 years. Once I got inspected. And it was nap time. I have one that's been sick. I have had to clean him, wash him. It even kind of smelled like vomit when she walked in. I said I had one sick. And I mean, I even had to give him my bath. And he's laying in my bed and he's waiting for Mom. And she goes, oh, did you have to send him home? And I said, well, he's waiting on Mom. Where is he? She didn't understand why this sick child was laying in my bed waiting for his mom. She wrote me up for that. And I don't know about you, but if my child is sick at your house and you're having to take care of them, first of all, you're loving on them. And then they're waiting in your room, and she goes, "Well, then what if you get sick?" Well, what if you don't make it out of my house, bitch? Oh, I said it again. For all of you people that are really questioning why I'm cussing so much, just sometimes I get a little upset and I'm working on it. I don't do daycare anymore. And sometimes it comes out and I'm really working on it. I'm working on it, okay? And I'm not editing that out. I'm working on it. One time she got on to me and wrote me up for having the kids cutting. We were doing project when she walked in and the kids were cutting and they were cutting lines or whatever they wanted. Actually, the best thing that we like to do is magazines. I don't know if we were doing them then, but I like the kids to cut magazine pictures out or whatever they want. Just cut, 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 because practicing cutting was important. You know what I mean? I got written up for it. I was right there. I was right there. What the fuck? All of this came down to that's not a lie. That's your perception of stuff, and you ain't got no kids anyway. So why are you telling me what to do with kids? You see where the problem is? I wasn't the only one that was having a problem with her. And then she went along to be the head of something else. And you know what? Sometimes people don't need to be in their jobs. That's all I'm saying. We can talk about the health inspections. I can tell you when a health inspector walks in your house, they have to find something wrong. I don't care what you say. You can go against me, but they're going to have to write something down because nobody is perfect. So therefore, if they're going to have to write somebody down, I make them tell me to clean under my refrigerator. Yes, I do. It's never that bad. But if they look under there with their flashlight and it's fuzzy or there's cars, they're like, "Ooh, we need to clean this up." And they have something to write down. It was so innocent, you know? I never wanted them to find something, the temperature out, the temperature wrong, a food spoiled, bleach out. You don't want them to find anything like that, medicine down, but they have to find something. And don't think they're not going to tell you where to put your medicine, where to put your cleaner. You think you've got it somewhere, and they're going to tell you where else to put it. Because I know when I moved to the duplex, whenever I got divorced in 2020 and moved from the daycare we were living at, which was a double wide, to the duplex, which was bigger than the double wide, it was so fun. When I moved that, I did know that I had to, there was things from the health department I had to do that were so different than what the other was. Health inspections. They're going to find something wrong. Even whenever people said, I got 100%, they still sit there and tell you to change things and do things. And on their little paper, they got a few things written down that you could approve on. So make it easy on them. Keep all the big stuff done. Don't make anything hurtable. You know what I mean? But you better go out there and you better look at your toys outside. Are they broke? Your toys inside, are they broke? Look at your fans. Look at everything. There's nothing like living where the health department can come in and tell you what you're doing wrong. It's still hard for me now living where we live. I feel like sometimes I need to just empty everything and scrub it out and make it new because I feel like the health department's going to walk in at any time. They would write me up for a few things. Thank God I have no kids right now. No kids here, you know what I mean? So then we'll go to food inspections. I was on the food program. I was going to feed those kids like that anyway. Whenever I started daycare, I had already worked at a daycare in the kitchen. They fed 99 kids to be exact. And so I cooked for a good year for those 100 kids. And so I learned a lot about cooking for big groups and all. And then I cooked for my family. There was 6 of us growing up, and I did help mom cook there some. Laundry was more my thing. Laundry dishes. That's what I like to do. I'm so weird. Yeah, the other day I did tell my husband that I just do dishes instead of cook. I just want to do everyone's dishes. How to know you're mentally screwed up. You want to do laundry and dishes. I've done them for so many years because I use dishes and washed by hand and use my dishwasher a few times a week with 10 kids. What the hell was I doing? It's like I was like, I wash my hand. I hated using paper plates. I did sometimes picnics and stuff, but I just didn't like doing it. And everybody did it. And I didn't want to do it. I still don't like doing it. I'd rather just do our dishes. But the food inspection, that one was fun. When I got on the food program, it was this one company, and Bud and his wife. If you're around Missouri, Southern Missouri, you knew Bud and them at Child Nutrition, and him and his wife came to my house. I was outside of Branson, and I'm sure it was for a Branson trip, but they came out to train me before I was licensed. When I was waiting the paperwork to come in, so I would know how to do it to go ahead and start. They gave me everything I needed, and that's when I just started. I was like, I can cook for these kids. I can cook cheaper for these kids. I can give these kids, food, not just peanut butter and jelly and chicken nuggets. I mean, because that's the stuff they're going to eat, but I want them to eat. I want them to know what beans are and rice and mashed potatoes and Chinese and making their own pizzas. And I'm going to say we did pretty good over the 23 plus years that we did daycare there. The kids helped with lunch. They helped clean up lunch. They helped with the menus. I had certain things we were doing, but they helped me. What kind of tacos did you want to have? We would discuss it, and that's what we would do. So when the food inspection lady came, I never really had any issues. Paperwork is always filled out. It was more like a nice visit and on. And it was worth it because not only did I have the same food lady over all the years, she was an extremely nice lady, and I just got to really love her. Uh, Her son did photography, so I learned a lot about that because my daughter was starting to get interested in it, and she is now. And so came along with the food check, and I'm sorry, but I had anywhere from 600 to 1,100 a month given me back to feed the kids. So don't think I can't take that and feed those kids glorious food. I was on tier 1 too. There was tier 1, tier 2, and my school was a low school district, so I automatically got tier 2 if you understand daycare languo, langro. You know what I mean, language. Yeah, it was worth it. It was really worth it. Sure wish I'd saved all of that. You know what I mean? Then the health inspection on paint. I understand if you've got lead in your paint or if it's really horrible, but I would get written up on little bitty chips of paint. And it just drove me nuts. And so time after time, year after year, it was always the paint, always the paint. And it came down to the certain paint that I had, I would just keep it. And at night, I would just patch and make search the sand because you want it to look nice, neat, and safe. I swear, anytime they showed up, something just happened. And it hit to one time that got written up and they told me I had 30 days to repaint it. What the fuck? It's not that bad. But kids hitting it with the truck and chairs. I mean, it happens. Well, the problem was we had a cruise station 3 weeks after. So I had 3 weeks to get it painted. I could do it 2 weeks before the cruise or 1 week after. Did we mention I hate to paint? And I'm open Monday through Friday. So I found 2 daycare parents that on the week I was gone, for my family was gone on a cruise. I gave them a week's daycare to, hopefully more than a week, because I hope I gave them more than a week because it was a big job to paint the playroom. So before we left, I had it cleaned up, everything in the middle, so it was ready to paint. So they could come work on it, anytime they wanted. We didn't know what color they were doing. We went to Home Depot. They picked the colors. We paid for it. We went back. We had no clue what color it was going to be. I trusted my friend Michelle. I did. I trusted her. At that time, I trusted the other friend. I ain't going to say her name because she just dropped us like we were rotten. But I trusted them. And when we came home, first of all, I was shocked. But it was the most beautiful paint job ever. We went green. And on the bottom was this lime green. It was so beautiful, and it went like a Charlie Brown around the whole middle. And then in the middle, the color was called jasmine. I'll never forget. I had a baby jasmine, so I remembered it. And then it went around about this big, just like the Charlie Brown. And then on the top was a really dark green. I know it sounds weird, but I went green. Not technically, but it was green. It was shocking at first, but it was beautiful and so calming because that A, I needed to make the health department happy, and B, I wanted it to be calming. It was so beautiful. Jackpot, they did it. It was a lot of trust. And when the health inspector came, she loved it. I thought it was a bunch of bullshit. But I understand. Yeah, they never ate it. Lord forbid they run a truck into it. But that happens. I had a paint problem for over 23 freaking years because it went onto the duplex anytime there was a chip. I'm telling you, it's like they go, "Ah," and I hated it. But I guess that was just me. I got a new room out of it though, and it was beautiful. Okay, now we're going to go to my last inspection. My last inspector, I can't say her name because she got fired. It was COVID whenever I moved into, it was 2020 when I moved the daycare. My husband filed for divorce and I moved to daycare started moving it in May of 2020. And by June, we were moving it over. I had a health inspector. And for a year and a half, she came over. She told me a list of things I needed. I had everything done. When I set this one up, I knew what was going to be needed. So the sprinklers were in when it needed. The fire extinguishers were where it needed. The exit was where it needed. I had a cushion floor on my double car garage. I had cameras in all rooms. I mean, I knew what the hell I was doing. She loved it. She loved it. And then with COVID, they kept telling me, well, it's COVID. Health department can't show up. I have the fire marshal and the city fire chief. And that's getting them together was like an act of fucking God. I didn't need a sprinkler. Yes, you need a sprinkler. I'm like, you know what? I'll just put a sprinkler in. Well, you need this. I had to put bathroom signs up of where my bathroom was because every business in the city needs one. If you haven't seen them, go look at my TikTok. I found a couple of doozies and I kept them. They're so amazing. Yeah, go ahead and wash your hands if you're an alien. It's okay. Just wash your damn hands. And then the funniest one was I had to have how many people could be in there because the city business has to have how many people can fit. Well, first of all, you're challenging me? That was what I thought first. No. So they said no more than 12 people in there. So me, helper, 10 kids. I am cool with that. 3-bedroom, 1,200 square feet, 2-car garage. That is perfect. I had to put a fence up on the sides. I mean, I put a lot of work into this, but I found out the health department's not showing up. The health department's not showing up. The health department's not showing up. And call after call. And then about a year and a half into it, I find out through the police. This girl never even measured my place to see what size it was and big enough for the kids, which I know it was because I know the laws. But her first thing she should have done on her first thing I found out was measure it. She had no measurements. Then I find out a year and a half into this, where my life has almost been taken out of everything, she never turned in for me for the health department. So all of those times I was calling the health department, they didn't know who the hell I was. Let me just say, that whole mess had everything to do with me retiring. A year and a half, over $17,000, and she didn't do her job. And I lasted about another year and a half with 6 kids registered before I just said, these people, because at this point, they won't even come inspect me now. because with her getting fired, I have to start completely over. And I was like, okay, so can I just have my file back and I'll just turn them in, because it's paper after paper after paper. And it was a big shit show. And I threw the towel in. So if you're going to get licensed, think hard on what kind of license you want. And make sure your licensed person, human, because we all make mistakes, make sure they do everything they're fucking supposed to. But I can't gripe because me retiring, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm married. So, life is good. That's why I kind of, when you've dealt with state so many years and you've had so many inspections and you have so many people that's had inspections, because I could tell you stories from friends and it's been crazy. And then I see someone that's just doing something that, everybody got written up to where I was from. What the hell are you doing? How can you get away with that? Remember, I got to remember to ask in question forms so they don't hate me so much. But haters gonna hate. So this one went a little long. I think once I edit all of it, it might not be. But, if you're going to get licensed, do it. Don't just babysit. Get licensed. Let's go for it. You need help? I might have people around you that can help you, because help is what it takes. I had help. Well, I think I've probably told you everything I know on this, unless I wanted to go another 20 minutes. Nah. Anyway, thank you for all the messages. I'm limping around now because I think I pulled my big butt muscle on my right leg. It goes down my left side of the knee, and it's not like I'm at too much right now. So I'm really working on just walking. So if you guys could pray for that, this body, between the Tough Mudders and half marathon, I don't know what messed them up the most. Thank you, Lord, for these new knees. Okay. So until next time, thank God you're not my child.